Hello and welcome to Chinballs Gaming. I am Scorp and here I am on my Steam Deck, and as you can see I have forgotten my sudo password. Here I am trying my password, which is Chin, and it's just not working. But hang on just 1 second, I 100% know I did not forget my password, because just 5 minutes ago and one reboot earlier I had just set my password to Chin, so I 100% know that this is the right password. Now, I have already made a video showing how to reset your sudo password using either the recovery disk or a different distro such as Fedora, but some comments on this video, people said that they didn't have a spare SD card to do this, so I'm going to show you a different way. So first, it is actually worth checking to see if there is a password set. So if you quickly just type in Passwd, it may let you set a new password because there might not actually be one set. So if that works, great stuff, you can stop watching this video now. If that doesn't work, then you need to follow these next steps. Now before I show you how to fix this, I'll just tell you why this has happened. So the Steam Deck has two sets of OS partitions, an A partition and a B partition. This is when the Steam Deck updates, it will update the other system first and then it will boot into that, leaving the original copy in place just in case the update fails. The problem with this is that your passwords are stored in there, and because there are two theirs, that means that there are two versions of your password at any one time. So if you change your password on one of the OSs, it might not change on the other, leaving you with one with a password, one without, one with your new password, or one with an old password that you may or may not have forgot. So hopefully that makes sense. So it is also worth trying any old passwords that you may have set, because it might be one of those. Well, it will be one of those, quite honestly. It will either be an old password or no password at all. But you may have forgotten your old password, which is fair enough. So to do this without booting it into the recovery media or into a live CD, what we will do instead is we will force the Steam OS to boot into the other partition. So if we are currently on the A partition, we are going to force SteamOS to boot into B, and if we are currently on B, we will force the SteamOS to boot into A.
So at this point I probably should say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the disclaimer. That's right, the disclaimer. If this sounds dangerous, do not try this at home or at all. And if it offends you, just don't listen to it.
Now there are two ways to do this. You can either do this from the terminal here, typing in this command. So steamos-set-boot mode space reboot-over. Now this will make this a permanent change, so it might not be quite desirable because we don't actually know what state the other OS is in. So what we can do instead is we can temporarily boot into the other partition by turning off the deck, and when we turn it on, if we hold down the three dots button whilst pressing the power, you will then come to this menu here. So as you can see highlighted, it says current B. This is the partition that I am currently on. So all I need to do is press up to previous and press enter, or A on the Steam Deck itself. Note if you are currently on the A partition, it would say current A at the top and it would say previous underneath it. So you would need to press that one. So some old school Linux boot sequence will run past the screen and you will eventually reboot into your SteamOS, into the other partition. Do note here, I am skipping going from game mode into desktop because it's just a pain in the bum to show this every time. But that's what you will need to do. It will boot into game mode and then you will need to drop back into desktop mode. So I'm just going to open up a console again and I'm just going to type in any sudo command basically and see if my original password works. And success, yes it does. But this is only going to work while we're currently booting into this partition. As soon as the SteamOS decides to boot us into the other partition, we are going to have the same problem. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy our password file from partition A, which we are currently in, to B, which is currently not mounted. So first thing, we are going to need to mount this partition. So in my case, I need to be mounting partition NVMe 0 N1P7, which in my case is var B. So I'm going to mount this using udisk control. So you need to type in udisk control mount-b/dev/NVMe 0 N1P7 or P6 if you're doing it the other way around. This will ask you for your sudo password, which in my case is Chin, and that will then be mounted to run, media, deck and var. So to copy our password file, we are going to need to type sudo cp/etc/shadow. That is where our password is kept. Now, the way the Steam OS works, it uses overlays to do a lot of things because the file system is actually read-only, so it does some magic in the background. So where we need to copy it to is actually run/media/deck/var/lib/etc/upper/shadow. Yes, it's quite long, but this is where our password file is actually kept, and basically everything in etc is actually kept. So as soon as you copy that over, your password should now be synced between both partitions. So now it's simply a case of just rebooting. This will then land me back into my B partition, and as you can see, I've just typed in my password Chin. I am in my B partition. That was refusing to accept Chin earlier, and now it does. So there we are. Both my partitions are now synced with the same password. If I do change my password in future, then we will have the same situation again. When we boot back into the other partition, when Steam updates, I will probably have to supply it with my old password or go through this again. And that's it, basically. I hope that helped. I've tried to keep this quite short. I know it's a lot to take in. I have skipped a few corners. I apologise for that. But hopefully I've explained it well enough so you've been able to follow. If not, please do let me know and I'll try to help a bit more. And if anything does fail, then you may have to just get the recovery disk out and do it the original way that I showed a few months ago. But that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you another time. Hopefully.